The transition of Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari has rocked the driver market. After the announcement that the 7-time champion will represent the Italian team in the upcoming season, much time has passed, but there is still no clarity on who will replace him. Furthermore, the situation has become increasingly tangled over time, with more candidates emerging to become George Russell's teammate. Toto Wolff's list includes both talented young pilots and seasoned veterans, each with their own advantages to become the next driver, making the choice difficult. But what makes it even more complicated is the situation at Red Bull Racing. The power struggle within the team makes the departure of Max Verstappen possible, who is currently the most sought-after driver in the paddock. While such a possibility remains unlikely, it still exists, prompting many teams to gear up for the battle over Max Verstappen. Mercedes is no exception, as team principal Toto Wolff openly stated that the 3-time world champion would be his #1 target to replace Lewis Hamilton. Aston Martin is also preparing to lure Max to their side. They have already offered a spot on the team to Adrian Newey, and from 2026 onwards, their cars will feature Honda engines. These actions should be seen as attempts to recreate the right environment for Max and sway him in their favor. The active moves of competitors add further uncertainty for Mercedes, and Max himself may announce his future plans at the last moment. Therefore, Toto Wolff is not planning to rush the decision on the future driver to avoid missing out on the best possible option. As much as we were taken aback by Lewis's decision so quickly, now I really want to take my time. We have a slot free, the only one in the top teams. Unless decides he goes, then the slot is not going to be free with us anymore. There are a few options that are really interesting for us, from the very young super talent to some of the other ones who are very experienced. That's not going to happen in the next few weeks or months. I want to continue to monitor the market. It depends on what Max does. The main target is Max, but he is not the only candidate for the position of the new Mercedes driver. If Max stays at Red Bull and Kimi Antonelli turns out not to be ready for Formula One debut, Carlos Sainz could fill Lewis's seat. Although Ferrari did not extend the contract with the Spaniard, he is clearly one of the fastest drivers available for the next season. Carlos has progressed in recent years and is the only non-Red Bull driver to have won a Grand Prix in the last 500 days. But again, much depends on the future of Max Verstappen. The power struggle at Red Bull is of paramount importance in the search for the new Mercedes driver. The team wants to get the best driver, but the drivers also want to get the best team. Therefore, a potential vacancy at Red Bull is of interest to many. Drivers like Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso are on the list of those who could replace Lewis Hamilton. But do they want to? Currently, Mercedes is not in the best shape. For 3 consecutive years, they have faced difficulties in building a competitive car under the current technical regulations, so the choice between them and Red Bull will be obvious. Moreover, after Carlos Sainz's phenomenal start to the season, Red Bull team principal Christian Horner expressed interest in the Spanish driver. When asked about the possible promotion of Yuki Tsunoda to the main team, he responded as follows. "Look, Yuki's a very quick driver, we know that. But I think we want to field the best pairing that we can in Red Bull Racing. And sometimes you've got to look outside the pool as well. You've had a very fast, unemployed driver win today's race, so the market is reasonably fluid with certain drivers. Based on a performance like that, you couldn't rule any possibility out. Red Bull may try to sign Carlos instead of Checo and keep Max in the team, thus significantly limiting the pool of candidates to replace Lewis. However, Horner's statements may also be aimed at internal power struggles, suggesting that even if Max leaves, the team will not be left without a strong driver. In any case, there remains much uncertainty for Mercedes. By staying on the sidelines and waiting to see what unfolds, they risk losing good drivers, while rushing the decision may result in missing out on the best option. The situation with Fernando Alonso, who is also considered one of the candidates for Mercedes, remains unclear. The Spaniard stated that he would first decide whether he wants to stay in Formula One in 2025, and only then decide whether to stay at Aston Martin or switch to another team. So it's impossible to say definitively who Mercedes will sign at this point. The driver market is currently very volatile, and much depends on the situation at Red Bull. The only thing that is certain is the possibility of putting Kimi Antonelli behind the wheel of a Formula One car. Perhaps he's not ready for it now, but should we take the risk and give him a chance? Maybe we shouldn't wait for Max Verstappen and instead cultivate our own champion. Share your thoughts in the comments.